There are now 3 lawsuits challenging the controversial lame duck session laws that limited the authority of new Governor Tony Evers and new Attorney General Josh Kaul. A coalition of 5 labor unions filed the latest lawsuit last week. The unions and 1 Democratic state senator contend the new laws violate the separation of powers in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Federation of Nurses and Health Professionals is one of the unions that filed the lawsuit, and we're talking now with the union's president, Candace Owley. It's good to have you on the program.
Great to be here.
So I mentioned that this, according to you and the others involved in this lawsuit, violates the separation of powers in Wisconsin. How so?
Well, if you take a step back a little bit of how we see it, and that is that our members were very concerned about what was happening in the healthcare system. We saw that people didn't have enough health care, and they wanted a governor who was going to go out and take on the cost, but also protect the Affordable Care Act in particular. And these both Governor Evers and Attorney General Kaul, they ran on this idea of protecting the Affordable Care Act and expanding Medicaid. So when they won, our members were very excited because they saw that this is going to happen, and they believed that a governor and attorney general had that right to do that. And they was really truly shocked when they heard in the middle of the night that some laws were passed to say that they couldn't pull out of a lawsuit, and they couldn't even maybe run that the governor couldn't even run his Department of Health in the way that the previous governor had done it. And so we said, this just seems wrong. Our members said, can they do that? And I said, well, let's find out. Let's ask lawyers that know about these kinds of changes to a state law, changes in the middle of the night with really no hearings, really bad politics. Bad policy is set like that. And so we are convinced that the actions that were taken that take so much of the power of the executive branch and put it into the legislative branch do in fact violate a separation of powers, which is important in the Constitution. You know, we do have 3 branches of government, and we still believe they should be, functioning in their own lane and doing what they're elected to do.
So I'm not a lawyer, you're not a lawyer.
That's right.
Lawyers will decide this. But in essence, you're saying you think the unions have legal standing here because of the fact that the Affordable Care Act, that lawsuit will continue now rather than being ended as the new governor and the new attorney general had promised.
Yes, that's one of the really important points, because this was, in many ways, the most important thing as part of the election. It was the top issue in the election. Certainly was an issue that we've been fighting for many years to improve our healthcare system. And I think the other thing that's beyond the legal part is just how bad this partisanship is, because they only did it because the governor changed. I mean, they didn't have this bill all teed up to go if Walker had been reelected. And I don't think we want to get to a point where every time the legislature changes, they go in and rewrite the rules of the game so that, put a bunch of power back when they change to the governor or take it away. I mean, this is not the kind of state that we want.
So when you hear Speaker Boss or the Senate Majority Leader Fitzgerald say, look, what we're trying to do here is say that we are a co-equal branch of government, and we're trying to make sure that we have an equal say in the policy of the state. Your response to that is?
Well, they're going beyond that. They're not being co-equal. They do have a say. They do have a say to pass laws. They do have a say to, that the governor, however, has his job also, which is in the area of administering laws and running departments, and an attorney general that has a role to engage in the legal issues of the state.
Give me your sense of your chances pursuing this sort of litigation. There are people who think this may very well end up before the state Supreme Court, which currently has more of a conservative configuration than it does a more liberal one. You think you can win this?
Well, honestly, we would not move forward on a piece of legislation that we didn't think we could win. I mean, we are not, we're not just tilting at windmills. We believe that this is both the correct thing to do politically, the correct thing to do for the future of our state, and we believe that we have kind of a responsibility to do this because, somebody has to, when people say, can they do this? it doesn't seem right, well, we think that we should help raise that voice up to say, no, it doesn't seem right and it isn't right. And I know we have a conservative-leaning courts, but you know, they've done the right thing many times around. And so I'm still optimistic that at the end of the day, the courts will do the right thing for Wisconsin and for our democracy.
Candace Owley is the president of the Wisconsin Federation of Nurses and Health Professionals. It's good to have you on the program. Thanks very much for being with us. State Democratic Party Chairwoman Martha Lanning says she won't seek re-election, and that means the party will be electing a new chair at its next convention. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics, has the story on its election blog at wispolitics.com. Coming up next on Up Front, are we a step closer to toll roads in Wisconsin?